Hello, dear friends. We're glad to welcome you once again on Allatra TV Middle East. In today's live conversation, we will talk about the model of society where each and every person would feel happy and secure. What conditions should be created in such society for a comprehensive development and personal fulfillment of everyone? And of course, what makes us humans and what should we do together to make the human life the highest priority in the society? Before we start, I would like to address to you, our dear viewers, please feel free to write your comments in the YouTube chat box and also ask your questions because the most interesting ones will be asked by the end of our broadcast. And also, don't forget to share these videos with your friends on your social networks, adding two hashtags, hashtag Creative Society and hashtag allatraunites. And to those of you who joined us recently, I would like to say that a very unique project has been launched on Allatra International Public Movement platform. This project is called Creative Society. And throughout this project, people from more than 180 countries of the world, can you imagine? 180 countries of the world are conducting social surveys, international interviews, roundtables in different conferences. And they're doing this in order to find out how do people envisage a creative society, what a creative society is for them, and whether they want to live in a society like that, in a society of happy people. So today's broadcast, we will be hosting together with Alina. Hi, Alina. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kate. Hello, everyone. I'm great. Thank you so much. And today we have again our international broadcast. We are all from different countries. Kate is in Ukraine right now. Me, I'm in Italy right now. And we have a very special guest from Canada. And before I introduce our special guest, I would like also to say that throughout these broadcasts, we are also testing the social theory of six handshakes, according to which all people in the world are connected through five or fewer social connections only. That means we are all not strangers to each other. And this theory is working even more efficiently with contemporary technologies because we have a say that only two connections are enough to connect you with any person in the world through social media networks. And today's guest was introduced to us by a guest from our previous live conversations. So I'm very happy to introduce Rempel from Canada. Heifer is a chair of the Alberta Women's Liberal Commission, active volunteer, and a woman with a very broad outlook. And Heifer, we are very thankful that you accepted our invitation. How are you today? How is the weather in Canada?
Well, thank you for allowing me this opportunity. I really I'm really looking forward to the conversation throughout this interview. I'm doing very well. It's here in Edmonton where I'm based, Edmonton, Alberta, which is in Western Canada. It's bright and sunny and kind of windy outside, but uh, in a lot of ways, it's ideal fall weather. I'll take this over the minus 20 stuff that we'll be getting in a couple of months anytime. So,
Right. But yeah, that's great. It's a beautiful full time everywhere nowadays. And we know, Heather, that you are a very socially active person and you constantly communicate with so many people and you gain knowledge and you constantly develop. Can you please share with us your story? What inspired you to choose this field of activity and what motivates you to continue this journey?
well, um, my my journey kind of started as like for me, growing up as an Air Force brat. My dad is retired Air Force, having spent nearly 27 years in there, and we were posted to several different places like Cold Lake, Alberta, Moose Jaw, which is also my mom's hometown in Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and then 4 years in Germany, what was then West Germany, near Baden Baden, and then back to Cold Lake before moving to Edmonton when dad retired. And that really taught me that, you don't always have the time to, really get in, like, you don't always have the time to be overly picky about situations that are given to you. You just have to take what you're given and run with it. And that's how I'm was able to start my journey as to like racism. For me, racism just doesn't have a place in my life because it's a case. It's mainly because of, like, how can I put this? I didn't always have like it's like you kind of become a quick judge of character when you move around as much as we did. To say, okay, I don't have time for that, but are um, these people are good people, and I know they'll support me, and they'll and I can pursue my personal growth. Another thing that inspired me was um, were my grandparents. They were founding members of the Socialist Party here in Canada, the New Democratic Party. And so much of their work got things in place that we take for granted now, like um, pensions and um, good working conditions, like 8-hour workday and having 2 days off instead of working 12 hours for 12 hours, 12, 14 hours a day for 6 days a week. Um, and little things like making sure that was a bathroom on site as a, you know, and seeing how they were able to get these things in place for future generations, like my parents and my generation and my niece's generation and onward. I felt it very much. I really felt that it was my responsibility to continue that work, to pay it forward, and make any improvements if necessary to what my grandparents started, building on things that they had started to make sure um, that things can only be better for us in the future.
So they were that are amazing and very kind role models for you who
Oh yeah,
inspired you really to continue what they've started.
yes, I was always Grandpa's little girl, so um, it just, even though he's been gone for 18 years, I still feel like through my work, I still feel like that he's still with me
Very
in that
beautiful.
respect.
And I wanted to ask you in today's society, we are very much divided, right? And I would like to ask you, what is your opinion? What unites people, all people in the world, despite differences in their nationalities, religions, despite their beliefs? What unites all of us?
Well, I think everybody wants what's best for them and their their families, making like things like making sure that your child has a good education, that you're properly fed, you can contribute to society. Not, not being, excuse me, got the hiccups here. Not, not to make, it's all the thing, commonalities, love, family, contributing to a better society, and helping out our fellow human beings and the environment that we live in. And while everybody might have a slightly different way of going about that, as long as we keep in mind that we're trying to work towards the greater good, then that ensures that we're focusing on being united, as opposed to trying to divide and conquer, like everyone for themselves.
Yeah, that's very much true. And from your personal experience and from the experience of people who are around you, this inner wish to help, to commit into the better society, is it something which really makes a person happier?
I really do think so. It's like, I know for me, just knowing that, even if it's just, something small, that right now it could be something small, but as it builds and builds, you get to see the progress that you make, and knowing that you had a small part in that, like knowing that I just have a small little, like what I may contribute might just be a but drop in the ocean, but the ripple effects to other people in society, it it is a really great feeling.
Yeah, so much true. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Heather. And, I totally agree with you that once you're doing something, not for your own good, but for the best, for the better of other people, once you share this love, once you share this knowledge, share your experience with them, it makes you even happier.
Yeah.
So, it kind of goes back to you as well. And could you please share with us and our viewers as well, in your perspective, what is true happiness? Is it a matter of choice or a matter of circumstances?
I don't think it I really don't see it as it being one or the other. It's a combination of both, because yes, you can make, like, sometimes life gives you circumstances that you weren't expecting, but from based on those circumstances, you can make choices that can improve your circumstances, or, you know to make them better, or remove them if you know that they're just going to be toxic or unbeneficial to you in the long run. Like, um I'll use an example. Like, I chose, like, back in 2009, I chose to move to Ottawa for work, and there were a bunch of little things in that first month that I was there, that, it's like, am I going to find an apartment? Where's my car? Where am I going to get my furniture? It just felt so overwhelming, but I knew that it was a choice that I had made. I needed to broaden my I always kept in mind, it's like, yes, I need to do this. I need to broaden my horizons. And one of the reasons I was able to get through all of that was the fact that I had good friends in the Ottawa area to start with. So I had the support. And because of my activities, some of my volunteer stuff in Edmonton, I was able to transfer it into like, do similar activities in Ottawa so that I was, it's like, and build up my support system even further. And once I got all that set up, everything was just made me so much happier, and I was able to march through it all, and felt a lot better. And I'm very thankful for my support systems all across the country that allow me to soldier on when I'm not when I start find myself starting to waver, like, am I really doing any good? And
How important it is to have this support in a society, to have a trust between each other, right?
right.
Something which might be a bit lost in the contemporary society, but we could easily bring it back to our reality just by our choice. And I know that you've been introduced to the project Creative Society, and you already know about it. What is your envisioning of a creative society? In which society you would love to live? In which society you would love to live your family members or people around you? Can you describe such a society?
Well, the way I see it, it's a combination of things. Like, you have to give people the support they need, the tools they need in order to make us um, work better as a whole. Like, if you were to take the um, the proverb, give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for life. Um, we can't just be feeding, keep giving them one fish per day. We need to be able to um, teach them, give them the education and skills that they need so that they can fish and sustain themselves to and better contribute to society. And that way they can pay it forward to someone else, and further down the line, that it's like, give them a hand up instead of a hand out. And it's through things like that truly unite us. It's like, we all want the same kind of things. Let's find a way to do it so that everybody benefits, like everyone gets a bigger piece of the pie, and not have, like a few people with a huge part of the pie, and the rest of us only get, like two slices, type thing, two very small slices.
Thank you so much, Heather. And right now, we just talked like in general, and I would like to ask you in more detail. Could you please share with us what social assistance and maybe work conditions should look like in a creative society so that people could grow, could develop, could show their highest potential, their best qualities and implement them and share them with others? What we as a whole society can do so that every person that is a part of the society could grow.
Well, I think the first thing you need to do is assess what the person's skills are, and try and um, put them in a position where those skills can be utilized to the best of their ability. I'll use an example from work. Like, I work for FedEx Express here in their one of their Edmonton offices, where it's like we have people like myself who are a data systems agent, where we do all the manual entries of the paperwork. Then you've got, of course, the customer service reps, both in the call center and at the station. And of course, the most obvious one is obvious, noticeable employees are the couriers. But if we have someone who has, just has no competencies in as a courier, but they may be better off as, say, a customer service rep, or working with the importing of packages, or um, just the data entry. All of those need to be working together in order to ensure the smooth running of the operation. And once you're able to ascertain that, then you teach them, you give them, like, something that FedEx Express does that not all companies do, is you get some of the, you know, on the job training first. And then you go to the in class training after a few a few weeks or a few months. That way you can better assess the skills of the person, making sure that they're a good fit with the company, and if they are, then we can send them to the in class training, and it's there that they can see the okay, we've been doing it this way, and they go to the training and it's like, oh, that's why we do what we do. So it's all a matter of making sure that people have the skills to enter the enter into the work workplace, and then build on those skills as they go through their career at FedEx, however long it winds up to be, and making sure that it by having everybody with the right skill set in the right job, we're able to ensure that the packages get moving to where they're supposed to be with minimal hiccups, or um, keep the missed deliveries to a minimum.
Yeah, great example. Thank you so much. Hisa, I wanted to ask you,
Hmm.
as you've been in politics for so many years, and we, as participants of Halatra International Public Movement, we have conducted all over the world thousands of interviews, and all these interviews, it's like a social research, which is in openly is published every day on ALLATRA TV channels without any video editing, as people just say it. So we know that thousands of people, they say the same. Everyone wants to live in a happy society. Everyone wants to live in a society their human life is valuable. Everyone wants to have an access to the great education. Everyone wants to have an access to the modern technologies and healthcare. Everyone wants freedom to have more time for themselves, not to spend weeks, the 5 days of the week at work and never see their children growing. And do you think we as people we could create or we could formulate such a common request and address it to politicians that we want it everywhere in the world so that they could implement our request? Do you think we can do it?
Oh, I definitely it's possible. One of the reasons why I got involved with politics, not only to continue the work that my grandparents started, but knowing that um, in my own little way that I can affect policy, which can, like, at the grassroots level, which would ultimately get up to the politicians. Like last week, um, we had our federal government just had our speech from the throne, which would be like what they would call the Queen's speech in Britain or State of the Union in um, down in the States, where the government outlines its priorities over the next session of governing. And some of the thing, like when I hear those speeches, I know that I had a small part of that. And it's through developing policy and writing letters and calling my member of parliament's office and, you know, little things like that can affect change and ultimately relate, and ultimately that goes towards the greater good of society as a whole. So, like you can't, let's like, for lack of a better analogy, it's like the riddle is how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So yeah, but and one of the things that I've really enjoyed is, you know, meeting some of those people who are our representatives that I can say to them, it's like, hey, this really isn't working. Is there, this might be something that may work better because sometimes I find it not only in government, but wherever there's any kind of bureaucracy, like what works at like on the front lines doesn't always work like in the ivory tower. Like they'll bring something down and it's like, no, that's not going to work, and here's why, and then they feed it back up to the higher ups, and they can make the changes in order to make sure that we're like the program is actually going to work. So
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you for sharing this very interesting information. And yes, we actually probably should take more responsibility as well. All people,
right.
all of us,
Sure.
be responsible, not just shift this responsibility to others, but also really pay attention to what we say, what we do, and what we want, right? And what we can do, to contribute to society and to help each other. And
Yeah.
also, I would like to say that, in order to build a creative society, a world where everyone would feel comfortable, would be happy, we all need to be united by one common goal. And the basis of this goal, the foundations of this goal are actually the 8 foundations of the Creative Society that were published in the article, which is called The Foundations of the Creative Society and the Stages of Its Construction, that has been published on the allatraunites.com website. And right now, I would like to read out the 8 foundations. The first one is human life. The second one is human freedom. The third one is human safety. The fourth one is transparency and openness of information for all. The fifth one is creative ideology. The sixth one is development of personality. The seventh one is justice and equality. And the eighth one is self governing society. And also, I would like to address to our viewers, if you would like to read this article in more details, please don't hesitate and visit the allatraunites.com webpage, where you can find more information on the project and on the article as well.
Thank you so much, Kate. It was a very nice introduction. And today, maybe we would like to talk a little bit more about the 8 foundations of the Creative Society, which is self-governing society. And I will introduce it to our viewers. The concept of power in the Creative Society is absent, since the responsibility for society as a whole, its development, living conditions, and harmonious format lies with each human. Everyone has a right to participate in the management of the affairs of the creative society and in the adoption of laws that improve human life. The solution of the solution of socially important, socially significant, and economic issues that affect the quality of a human's life is submitted for public discussion and voting referendum. What do you think about this foundation, Heather? Can you comment on it?
Well, okay, I'm just trying to think of well, in a society that where governance, like we all need some sort of governance to make sure that things get done and um, that benefit the whole, but it can't be just the elected members or the bureaucracies that do it. We, the average citizens of the world, need to take responsibility and ensure that thing like the elite, for lack of a better term, the elites, like the elected officials and bureaucracies, don't forget that this what's truly important to those of us who are on the ground um trying to live our lives. Like, we need to go out, like we need to do more than just go out and vote during elections. We also need to be um continuing, like in between elections, we need to be doing things like maybe joining an NGO or becoming part of the political process, um, finding a venue that touches your heart and your soul, and your passions, that you can actually make a difference through education and um, writing letters, developing policy, engaging in discussions where we're to find in order to help each other build on our knowledge and reach our mutual goal, like our both our individual and mutual goals, which are not mutually exclusive. Like, For instance, we need to help someone get a better job, which means that they can um, they're fulfilling themselves, they're paying higher taxes, which means that the government can have more money to um, that help the which fund the programs to help other people's like our seniors on pension or those who are disabled, um, go through society with and while maintaining their dignity. So it's always just a matter of finding that thing that drives you. Like maybe you have something that's you have a special interest in foreign relations, or you have seniors in your life that need and they have issues that need to be reinforced. And like here in Canada, this whole COVID-19 pandemic has really shone a light on the um, inadequacies of our long-term care facilities that many of our seniors wind up in when they need extra help during their final years. It's like staff are going from one place to another, from one place to another, and they may not, which might wind up giving inadequate care to the residents. And but it's like they need to be like the employees need to be make enough money so that they can pay for frivolous things like rent and food and clothing and just the basic necessities of life. But so that is something that our government says it wants to help build on. And one of the policies that the Women's Commission is working on is to help improve long-term care in those facilities. Making sure that we're paying our caregivers enough to um, make enough money at one location that they're not having to go to 2 or 3 homes to make enough money. And that also increases the risk of them possibly spreading you know the virus to other people
Absolutely.
that are a bit more vulnerable or susceptible to becoming uh, becoming infected.
Absolutely. And now then we have introduced the 8 foundations of the Creative Society, and our viewers also had a chance to know about them. What is your opinion? How important is it to implement these foundations in all spheres of human life?
Well, I see it as I see them like I know you had to put them in an order, like chronological order, just for listing purposes, but you can't like they're all equally important in my view, and they're all intertwined. Like you start with the freedoms, but with freedoms come responsibilities. And so number 1 and number 8 would intertwine that way. And um, justice and equality, I mean, it's like as long people need to be um, treated fairly regardless of things like um, race, creed, color. Like here in Canada, Blacks and our Indigenous peoples, like First Nations, Métis, Inuit, have like they're a smaller segment of society, but in our prison systems, they're amongst the highest in the prison system. So in order for uh, so in order for us to reduce that, we need to be ensuring that they have the freedoms, responsibility, the access to justice that would help, and having, you know, fewer boil water advisories on our reserves. Like all these things build up to um, all these things build up to making sure that people are being treated equally and have the necessities of um, being part of a productive member of society.
Thank you so much, Heather. Thank you. And also, I would like to add as well that it is very important for us, to not just say, but also to support it with our actions as well. I mean,
Exactly.
to live by those 8 foundations every day, to implement them in our everyday life, in our communication with our loved ones, with people that we know,
Exactly.
with people that we don't know, to with those we say strangers, but they're the same people because they have the same inside. They're also driven by this desire to be happy, this feeling of happiness inside, this feeling of happiness, of love that they also want to share with others. And I would like to ask you probably the last question for today. Heather, could you please tell us, would you like to live in the creative society?
I would. I'm one of those people who like I feed off, it's like I'm one of those people who loves to interact. And I mean, yes, I do have times when it's just like, leave me alone, I'll get this done. It's easier for me to do it rather than explain it. But there's with that creative society, it you can feed off each other's creativeness and come up with solutions that would be better than if it was just one person trying to come up with it on their own.
Thank you. Thank you, Heather. And thank you very much for joining us today, for joining us in our today's live conversation. And also, I would like to address to our viewers, if you would like to join the live conversations, just like the one we had today with Heather, please feel free to send us emails and to our website, sorry, to our email, which is uae@allatraunites.com. And also, if you would like to join the project Creative Society, it is very easy to do. All it takes is just visit the webpage allatraunites.com and press on the red button join in the top right corner, and then fill out a short form where you can say how you would like to participate, how you would like to contribute to the society throughout this project. And you will be contacted by the volunteers of Allatra International Public Movement who will help you to choose the project that you would love to participate in.
Thank you so much, Heather. Today's conversation was so much deep and important. So I really enjoyed it, and I hope that our viewers enjoyed it as much as I did. And in every show, we ask our guests either to nominate straight away or to think about a candidate for our next live conversation, someone who you know, someone who you would like to invite to our show. Do you already know about
I
which name you'd like to nominate?
there are three um indigenous women that I think would make excellent um participants. One's a Métis woman from British Columbia. Another is a First Nations in a Dene, a Satu Dene woman um, in Calgary, about 3 hours south of where I am, and then another Indigenous woman in Toronto. So, if it's okay, I would like to approach them to see if one or all of them would like to participate in this, because there is so much um, so many issues around our indigenous peoples around the world, that and these women are absolutely knowledgeable. Like, they're three of the most knowledgeable women I know of around the issues here in Canada, that any one of them would be absolutely fabulous for this show.
We are looking
So,
forward to have them on our show, really. And dear
yeah,
viewers, if you or people you know would like participate in our shows, please send us an email to uae@allatraunites.com or to info@allatraunites.com. And also, we run daily broadcasts on Allatra Radio. So if you would like to participate in a podcast on Allatra Radio, please send us an email to info@allatraunites.com. And if you want to share our broadcast in your social media networks, please use two hashtags. First, Allatra Unites, and second, Creative Society. Leave your comments below this video, and please share your vision, how you envision a creative society, in which society you would like to live, how quickly we can build such a society by peaceful means, and what we need to do in order to unite. And the quicker we unite, the quicker we come to the conclusion, to the understanding how to build such a society. There, our children will live securely, will live happily, and we won't be afraid to leave this world to them. Thank you so much for joining us today. And have a great day, Heifer, Kate, and dear viewers. See you soon on Allatra TV Middle East.
thank you.
Thank you.